Let's zoom in and we're going to start off with traffic. And with traffic, there is an overarching principle that we have within this component. And that is the principle of buying ads versus being charged for impressions. Most people refer to using paid ads as buying ads. Meta, on the other hand, clearly lets us know in both their documentation and how we're billed as advertisers that we are charged for impressions. On the surface, it seems like a trivial difference in semantics, but underneath the semantics is a meaningful difference in how we approach using ads. Because buying implies that we get to choose what we're getting. When we go to the grocery store to buy groceries, we're picking out the exact apples, the exact oranges, the exact bananas that we want. We review the expiry dates. We pick up the loaf of bread that isn't squished and molded. Buying allows us to have control over exactly what we're getting. Getting charged, on the other hand, we have less direct control. Our control, or our perception of the control that we have, is indirect. When I'm charged $20 for 1,000 impressions on Meta, I have no idea exactly who is seeing my ads. I don't check the person who my ad is being served to, whether they're a good fit to see it. I can't check them the way that I check an apple at the grocery store. My control is more indirect via these mechanisms, through the algorithm, the messaging that I'm using, the creative that is the expression of my messaging, my price point that Meta's crawlers can see, my funnel, which again, Meta's crawlers can see, and my bidding strategy. Knowing that I'm being charged instead of buying, my intentionality and my approach is very different. If I'm being charged, I want to be charged for the best quality users possible. And quality, in my definition of it here, is the likelihood to convert and be a good customer for us as a brand. And the way for me to do that is to be strategic and mindful of the three pillars that I have control over. And those three are the mechanics, messaging, and the mosaic. So let's start off with mechanics. And it starts with a perspective shift. Meta is a member of your team, and it's not just a website. It's what I would consider your salesman at scale. Meta is distributing your message through the means of audio, video, image, text to thousands and millions of people digitally instead of physically. As a leader, you have two choices when leading your team. There's delegation or there's direction. Delegation is when you give limited information to your team member. Here's $1,000 a day. Go get me as many conversions as you can. Direction, on the other hand, is when you give nuance to your team member. Here's $1,000 a day. Get me as many conversions as you can within the constraint of $30 per conversion, or making back $2 for every $1 that you spend. As the operator and leader, you likely have an idea of how much you either want to acquire customers for or how much you want to make per dollar spent. And if I were to say this another way, you probably wouldn't want to spend $1,000 per conversion if your AOV is $100. So why withhold this information from your team member? Will your team member, in this case Meta, be more or less successful with the specifics of what you want to achieve? Or will they do it better without that information? And the answer is obvious to me. I want my team members, I want people that I work with to have the nuance of my expectations. And there's 5 types of bidding options you can choose in your campaign setup that allow you to give Meta this nuance. The first 2 are auto bidding, And this is more reflective of the delegation method where you tell Meta, hey, here's $1,000 a day. Go give me as many conversions as you can. And that's with respect to highest volume. Or when it comes to highest value, you say, hey, here's $1,000 a day. Get me the highest value conversions that you can. In these two cases, you are not giving the nuance of the expectations around how efficient you want your ad spend to be. The last three, with risk-reduced bidding, you have cost cap, bid cap, and ROAS goal. These are more in the line of direction, where you are giving Meta, your team member, visibility into the expectations that you have around the budget that you're giving it. In the case of cost cap, that is telling it the average cost per conversion that you would like to achieve. In the case of bid cap, that's the maximum cost per conversion that you're willing to pay. And with ROAS goal, that's a target return that you're after per dollar spent. The topic of bidding is a whole workshop on its own that I may do later this year. But for now, there's a lot more details on the systems and processes related to risk-reduced bidding inside of the classroom. So you can check out the 100K per month spending SOP. The second pillar of traffic is around messaging. So messaging comes down to speaking like an engineer versus speaking like Steve Jobs. And it's related to intentionality around the consumer. Some contrasting examples here. An engineer will describe it as a reversible 8-pin connector for high-speed data and power transfer. Steve Jobs, on the other hand, will say lightning cable. An engineer will say Bluetooth-enabled earbuds with H1 chip, beamforming mics, and auto ear detection. Steve Jobs will say AirPods. An engineer will say 326 pixels per inch, IPS technology, 1400 to 1 contrast ratio, wide color gamut. Steve Jobs says Retina display. And for anyone who's really nuanced around Apple, I'm aware that Steve Jobs himself may not have named these, but the essence of Steve Jobs and Apple permeates through this. Being intentional with what you're saying is how you let the algorithm know who to serve your ads to, while also demonstrating to the consumer why they should pay attention. When it comes to problem-solving products, big ideas and unique mechanisms will be the foundation of all your messaging. And here's an example with Hexclad. And for contrast, Hexclad is a 9-figure cookware brand that Gordon Ramsay is behind. And they sell what they call hybrid pots and pans. And the big idea for them is why choose between nonstick and stainless steel when you can have both? It reframes the old problem in a new way of the trade-off between durability and ease. And the unique mechanism that delivers on this big idea is the hybrid technology that they've coined, which is essentially etched steel plus nonstick underneath. As you can see here, they're very intentional about their messaging. Hybrid technology, TerraBond ceramic nonstick. For non-problem solving products, such as t-shirts, wall art, and more ornamentation-driven products, like phone cases, the foundation of your messaging is messaging to one. As an example, if you were giving me advice on a birthday gift for my mom, you probably wouldn't say, just get her something everyone would like. You'd tell me to think about her, what she likes, what makes her feel seen, what would feel thoughtful or surprising or personal to her. And you'd be right, because that's how good gifts work. They're not about what's generally good. They're about what's right for everyone. But when it comes to marketing, ads, funnels, and our messaging, we can often forget that. We start making it for our audience or the audience, for potential buyers, for women aged 30 to 55. And the message that was once sharp and specific becomes soft and vague because we're trying to appeal to everyone. But the reality is you don't scale by speaking to everyone. You scale by speaking to one person and then many of those one persons who are also in the market. And when you do that, your marketing becomes a kind of gift all on its own. It helps someone feel understood. It shows them a possibility they hadn't seen before. It makes the act of reading or consuming your ad and your content feel rewarding even before they buy. Marketing is personal even when you want reach and scale. That doesn't mean you limit yourself to one message. It means you don't water it down to reach more people. To reach more people, you create multiple concentrated messages, all living in your ad account in the market at the same time. Each of these messages doing its job, each one speaking with precision, each one landing in the heart of one person at a time. We speak to one, we repeat often, and this allows us to multiply impact and scale. What this means tactically for non-problem solving products is that you want to be really mindful of the nuances in your ads. Similarly to if you were giving a gift to someone who you understand and know the nuances of. For example, with t-shirts, who's wearing it specifically? And what ornamentation is around a flat lay if you're doing a flat lay image ad? For wall art, what does the scene look like? What's the couch look like? What's the color of the paint on the wall? What's the decor? For phone cases, who's holding it? What do their hands look like? What do their nails look like? What do their clothes look like that you can see subtle glimpses of? What we want is every detail that we're choosing to put in our ads to be as intentional as if you were getting a gift for someone who you care about and understand deeply. The third pillar is what we call mosaic. And there's 3 interesting facts that I want to start it off with. The first fact is that at the Meta Performance Summit, it was reported that Fabletics created 50,000 ads to yield 500 million in revenue, with 200 million of that being from new customers. 50,000 ads backs out to 136 ads per day. That's a lot of volume. The second fact is Meta introduced Advantage Creative Optimization as a default on setting. This setting enables them to use AI to create more variations of your ads, which is essentially them handling increasing volume and diversity for you. And the third fact is from Meta, and that is the top advertisers test 11 times more ad creative than the average advertiser. And when you look at a photo mosaic, which this is right here, it is a photo made up of a diverse amount of tiny photos. So as you can see here, as I zoom in, this woman here is actually made up of a whole bunch of photos of people, other people. Lots of diversity. Think of your ad account like a mosaic. It requires both diversity and volume to feel complete and to have the full picture. The concept bridges to our approach of pressure-based ad accounts versus portfolio-based ad accounts. Pressure-based ad accounts are missing pieces of the whole picture. They rely on a small number of ads to perform and sustain the business. They lack variety and diversity. There's a concern that if things stop working, there's no system or process to replace what's currently working. Portfolio-based ad accounts instead are the opposite. There's a large volume of ads active and flowing into the ad account. There's diversification, similar to an index fund. No single stock will impact returns meaningfully. There's less concern and worry because the machine behind a portfolio-based ad account is built on systems, processes, and a rhythm of inputs on a regular cadence. With a robust portfolio of volume and diversity, your mosaic then comes together. And to get more tactical on variety and diversity to build out your mosaic, you can check out Ad Variety, the workshop that we have in the classroom, and also last minute ads. The next component of the model, we have transactions. The overarching principle with transactions is the concept of conversion returns versus conversion rate. So conversion rate is a useful but incomplete metric, especially the one reported front and center in your Shopify dashboard. It doesn't account for the conversion rate by product or conversion rate by traffic source. It doesn't account for bot traffic that's slamming your store. It doesn't account for crawler traffic that comes when you load new ads inside of Meta. It can also go up if you drop your price or discount heavily while making a negative profit. And it can also go down while your profit is going up. This is why we focus on conversion returns instead.